The root of this is fundamentally a psychological pressure. This is you thinking as a founder that you need something that makes you appear more credible in your own eyes, possibly in a partner's eyes, in your family's eyes, your partner's family's eyes, your friends' eyes. You believe you need credibility, and you believe that the way to get this is to
start it up. Let's get it rolling. Big ideas, money folding. Hustle smart, dream so wild. Turn that grind into a joyride.
Are we going into this one?
Are we doing this?
Are we doing this?
Want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Yeah. All right.
Go,
in this episode,
Yes,
we're
now you know the rest of the story.
we're gonna get the third worst pieces of startup advice and what to do instead.
The third?
Did I say third? The three worst.
I love the idea. The third.
We're skipping one and two.
No, it's a 3-part series. We're starting with the third.
All right.
Three worst pieces of startup
I've
advice.
definitely had too much coffee today.
Yeah, you're
off
all
my
messed up.
game. I'm
Wow.
sorry. Yeah, I'll get it together.
Give me your
coach.
keys. You're not driving home.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So we're obviously in this space of, entrepreneurship, startups, tech, like all that sort of stuff. We love talking about this stuff. There's a lot of this like fortune cookie, like
Bullshit
business
is what you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So what we're doing today is I've looked up what are the 3 worst pieces of startup advice.
What is it in French? Merde?
Oh, great. Now we're a multilingual.
Now we're swearing in multiple languages. I know it in Serbian too, but I'm not going to say it.
Some metadata for that in the podcast. Okay, so why don't I hit you up with these? We'll just get right into it. So first piece of bad startup advice. Number 1 is follow your passion.
Yeah. Tough one. Okay, so like you should care.
Are you inspired by this? Dave, follow your passion.
Yeah, like unfortunately, okay. So a couple of thoughts. One is that you should care about what you're working about. That's the first thing, right? You should care what you're investing your time in, and what you're investing your time in should give you energy, make you excited about taking on the day, and make you creative, and all those kinds of good things.
Yeah.
The trick with following your passion is that most people would end up trying to be potentially professional athletes.
Because what do you do?
Famous artists,
right?
Go to Hollywood. I don't know, like whatever your thing was, like when you were a kid, I didn't grow up going, man, I just really want to make safety apps for universities and colleges, right?
But I would say that when you got into it, and when you did it for a while, you became extremely passionate.
Well, it's because it wasn't about this is kind of weird sounding, but it wasn't about the safety apps. It was about business. It was about selling. It was about motivating and inspiring people to do their jobs. It was about those parts of the job that I really, really liked, that I was actually passionate about and enjoyed. And so I think that's important to the parentheses around this is like the passion piece is like the parts of the job. You will develop passion if you're successful in the thing you're working on. Right. So for example, I got more into those safety apps over time, right? And I'm sure with, like some of the other products you had Centrifile was document management, right? So like I'm not sure you can get much more boring than that, but but
I got into it. I was like, holy smokes, like look at this automation I can do with these documents. I can read OCR these things.
Yeah, exactly.
Automatically file these things. Like this is so cool,
you can develop your passion.
Yeah, exactly.
And we do write about this in the book too, shameless plug, but it's like there's something to be said here that it's well-intentioned advice that is interpreted potentially the wrong way.
Yeah. So do you know who said it?
There's no way there's like one person, like that's got to be attributed to a million people.
No, there's one person.
It's not Winston Churchill.
No.
Yes. Okay.
No, Steve Jobs is famously.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was his passion? He seemed pretty unhappy a lot of the time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yelling at people.
Friend of the pod.
Yeah, friend of the pod.
But he, the people suggest like if you follow your passion, the idea is you'll never work a day in your life if you do something you love. But it's tough because I think what happens is you you don't start being passionate about the thing you're doing, especially with startups and businesses. You're doing something new
It's
that
unlikely.
might not exist.
You're trying to find an
It's
idea
unlikely.
that sticks in the market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I have kind of an
You're
interesting.
passionate about business, about making money.
An interesting story about this. I remember. Do you remember way back? Dad and I, we did a lot of sailing on Lake Ontario. We had a little boat, a laser.
Yeah.
And we decided to upgrade to a Hobie Cat or a catamaran
That thing was
style
sweet. I
sailboat.
remember that.
So we bought it from a dealership here in Toronto that sells boats. And I remember we said to the guy, it was like, it's so cool. Like, you go to this place, there are all these cool boats and sails, and you're into this stuff. You're like, this is amazing. I remember saying to the guy, like, this must be amazing to work here. You get to like work on all this stuff. He said, you know, it's the darndest thing. I hate sailing now. I used to love it. I used to love it, but now I have to do it all the time. And, you know, I have to do accounting. I have to hire people. I have to manage people. Like, I don't, and I actually, by the time I get
There's a bit
home,
of E-Myth in there too. But
well, but by the time I get back home on the weekend, I don't even want to go sailing. Okay. Like, I'm so sick of looking at this stuff that it ruined my passion.
Interesting.
So it's almost like a good idea. If you are passionate about something, keep that as your passion. Okay.
Bread making for me. Like, I don't really want to start a bakery.
Wow, that's lame.
Yeah. I like it. Okay. I have my Zassen house cuts the bread for me. It's just like you'll love this thing, Graham. It's a crank wheel operated like blade that cuts the bread. It's a party trick. I bring it out every party when I make bread to impress people, and they love it. So
chicks dig it.
Chicks dig it, you know. And by that I mean my wife. Okay, cool.
Okay,
Passion.
cool. So obviously want to talk about that.
Yep.
You know, I do hear about a lot of people too that you know, they're passionate about like sports and they want to be a pro athlete. I was one of those people, wanted to be the starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bills,
be an astronaut,
you know, that kind of stuff. So, you know, just don't have blinders on that. You have to follow your passion. Okay. You might want to just get into something.
Favorite quarterback?
And Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly? Really?
Yeah.
Not Doug Flutie.
Well, Doug Flutie came along later, but
Jim Kelly's great. Yeah.
Jim Kelly was great.
Classic,
Anyways, anyway, so
we'll hit a field goal at some point in the Buffalo Bills history. We'll hit a clutch field goal. So.
All right. Should I give you the next?
Yes, hit me the second one.
Bad piece of startup advice. Okay. You're going to love this one. Raise as much money as you can.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's I think the phrasing is important.
Yeah.
Okay. So take on as much debt as possible is what you're actually saying. Right.
Yeah.
And so
or maybe not like debt in the literal term, but like obligation to shareholders.
Make the biggest bet possible.
Yeah.
Like go all in right away.
Yeah.
So capital, we have a lot of feelings on raising capital. So delineating here importantly is that not opposed to late game capital. If you have market traction, things are going well, you're doing 5-10 million a year, and you're kind of looking to be like, well, we've got to make a move here. And or if you want to do, you know, accelerated growth, that could be an option for you, depending on your circumstances. That's fine. But for early stage companies, it's generally a terrible idea. So it's the most expensive form of capital. Because you've proven the least amount about yourself. You probably don't have that much traction, if any. You probably have almost no revenue. I mean, remember when we had Bryce on here, co-founder of Win Mobile, raised 1.6 billion, and he was like, "You don't know anything about anything, and you have to make this humongous bet." And a lot of venture capitalist firms are looking for those power law outcomes. So 100x return was 100x, 10x, 100x,
yeah,
100x, and so like. It's just a bad thing to do first. What you want to be doing is it also doesn't do what you think it does. You think it validates your business model and it validates your market. And I'd argue it actually does neither. It validates in the eyes of someone else that you might have a decent idea, but that doesn't really mean much, like as we know.
Right.
And really what proves that you have a good idea is other market indicators, profit being an easy one. That shows that you have a good business model, which is probably the most important thing, and that you have a good idea and that you have traction. Right. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I think one of the worst things you can do is be like, oh, I need to do a raise. Like maybe you need friends and family money to get off the ground. Fine. That's not what I'm talking about. Like you need to raise 50 grand just to, I don't know, social media ads, hire an intern. I don't know, whatever it is you're doing. But like after that, like that capital is so expensive.
Yeah.
You are, you get 100 grand 500 grand, and it costs you how many double digits of equity?
Your exit later looks a whole lot smaller.
Yeah.
Weighted average cost of capital,
It's
right?
whack.
So yeah, like a couple of points you kind of covered, but just like why this sounds good, this raise as much money as you can is, more money equals more resource, more success, right?
No.
Okay. It validates your ideas because investors believe in you.
No,
Investors don't
you
really
got to
know.
understand investors.
Yeah.
They're placing a lot of bets.
Yeah.
And the way that venture capital works is that they can be wrong 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
And that's totally acceptable.
Yeah. Why it also sounds good is like gives you a runway to like figure it out.
Actually, I would say it gives you a finite end. Is what it does.
Like if you can get some press coverage that you raised a bunch of money,
No
it
one
gives you
cares.
credibility.
God, this hurts me so much. But I think I've been so surprised over the past couple of years how little
press coverage matters.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. It is a vanity metric of vanity metrics. If you want that, get $1,000 or maybe like $500. Go to PR Newswire. Do a press release for yourself. If that's what this is about,
do it. You can talk
about whatever you want on your own press release.
You can see how ineffective it is when nobody picks up the story.
You're going to get a lot of spam. I'll tell you that much.
You're
going to get a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, you might,
but look,
you might have to go to LA and have Kathy Ireland interview you or something.
Don't bring up Kathy Ireland. You swore you'd never bring her up in 2026. Okay, but the one thing I think is important to hit on here, though, is the root of this is fundamentally a psychological pressure. This is you thinking as a founder that you need something that makes you appear more credible in your own eyes, possibly in a partner's eyes, in your family's eyes, your partner's family's eyes, your friends' eyes. You believe you need credibility, and you believe that the way to get this is to get funding because that will look like you have a good idea. And I wouldn't disagree with you because people on the outside looking in, they don't know. They don't know that that's not actually a true indicator of how things are going. Do you know what I mean? But you do. I think really hard though. It's a psychological roller coaster.
Think about when we started App Armor, and if we had raised say $500,000, okay, and we had that product, and we're building these custom apps for every university, and if we had all that money, would we have gone the creative route of building our content management system and modularizing and systematizing and all that sort of stuff? Or would we have just gone and hired 10, 50 software developers and say, pound it out, guys?
I do think.
And not had any eye on profitability or growth or scalability or anything. We scaled because we didn't have money to just throw people or resources at a problem. It forced us to be creative, to come up with solutions.
I do think that funded companies default to hiring people more easily.
Yeah.
And it does disturb me a little bit because I think it's such a waste of money. And the runway is so much shorter once you start adding people. And also just doing the things that are important as a founder gets so much harder when you have more people in those early stages. Like you got to do most of the work anyway as a founder early on, but then you're starting to wear the HR hat. And if you wear the HR hat too early, you're just going to be so distracted from what actually matters.
Yeah.
I mean, we like people. We had employees and everything, and they're great. But I just think that realistically, you want to avoid that for as long as possible.
Yeah. When you think about companies, there are actually some really big companies that have been successful, that have bootstrapped, that haven't raised money. So I know some of these are on your slides, but MailChimp, they bootstrapped to a $12 billion exit.
Yeah, they're unicorns.
Smokes. Yeah. Basecamp, they bootstrapped, they're profitable, they're still independent. They've never raised. Okay. Spanx, Atlassian, does Jira,
Rory, potpourri, which is like it's something you put over the toilet so your poop doesn't smell.
I thought it was poopery.
Whatever. Potpourri is probably a different product.
I think that's the actual product they were copying the name of. Yeah.
But GoPro, Shopify, across categories.
Yeah.
These are
so. When do you not raise versus when do you raise? And you've got a really good example that you always use in presentations when it is actually kind of necessary to raise. What's your example that you use?
You have like a physical product and you need the capital to have the product. So
Yeah.
I like to say if you're refining steel in a new and exciting way,
Yeah.
that's a good example that you probably need
some cash.
probably need
to
some
build
money
a
to do
steel
like,
mill, right?
you know, I would say that having a little bit more exposure to some foreign markets for manufacturing is that for physical products, you still need capital, but there's opportunities to produce the product in a way more cost efficient way than I thought was possible.
Yeah.
The trick actually becomes getting the product here. But
Right.
I guess what it is I'm surprised how much you can do with a relatively small amount of money.
Yeah.
Relatively, you still got to put in money for physical product businesses.
Yeah.
And then there's always like kind of this issue of like the second order.
Yeah.
So how profitable were you on the first round, and can you afford the second order?
Yeah.
There's some tricks there, but otherwise, I think it's been surprising. But there are circumstances where it could be required. Okay. What I'm trying to say though is like in all of this is try to avoid it.
Yeah.
If you can, find other forms of capital before you do this.
Yeah.
If you need money, that's cool. But like, do you really need this money?
Yep.
I sold my business for $40 million, and I want you to steal my ideas. Check out my book, Startup Different, on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle.
Anyway. All right. I want to go into the last one. The last piece of terrible startup advice. Dave, fail fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Complicated thing. So
sounds bold and action oriented, right? Like, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to figure it out. If it's going to fail, we're going to fail it fast, right? But is it just like a cop out for poor execution?
Or
is it just like
poor ideas?
Or like, your stupid business idea, you didn't do a good job at it. You said, well, we had to fail fast, and
yeah, it's definitely there's definitely
it's just like a cop out kind of thing to say.
I don't know if it's a cop out entirely, but I think there is some level of like dealing with what happened, kind of excuses piece of it. I think there are good parts of the notion fail fast, and there are bad parts of the notion fail fast. The good parts are getting quickly to market, trying to validate the idea. What it doesn't do a good job of accounting for is that some ideas require time.
Yeah.
Like as a necessary part of the mix of what makes your product special is time.
Yeah.
And so some good ideas, and this is where venture capital becomes problematic as well, because there's a lot of fail fast happening within the VC sort of ecosystem. They're going to want a 3 to 5 year thing, like return.
Right.
And if they see that it's not going anywhere in 2.5 years, they're going to be really antsy.
Yeah.
But you might need 3-4 years for this thing to go. And I mean, like our example, I think SaaS is actually a good category for this. There are some SaaS businesses that grew really, really quickly. And like, don't get me wrong, every category has their crazy gross ones. But I think most of the time, like, it's a process. It takes many years to get to $1 million in SaaS.
Yeah.
Just generally speaking.
Like our App Armor product, it was
4 years.
It took a while to develop that market for that to become a thing that people were willing to buy.
Yeah.
I think we hit product market fit fairly early because we had some really good initial customers, but it took a while for the market to warm up to this idea before like they universities had to see that other universities were doing it, and it was becoming a thing that you kind of needed in your suite of public safety tools. And I'm sure a lot of things are like that, where it just takes time for that market to develop.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we were patient enough, but still like working at it. But we didn't go into it and get to like 2 or 3 customers and go, well, this is not gonna happen. We're out of here.
We had our moments though where we were concerned.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, you can't do this and not be concerned. But when I think about the things that are interesting about failing fast as well, is that when there's an emphasis on the lean startup approach here, the build, measure, learn, which is good.
Right.
But aside from giving it time, it's just I feel like there's a kind of a varying definition of the failure. So you can fail on a company basis, which is bad, but on a per product or per module basis, that does make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're working on something and you go to market and people aren't really down for it, and you make a few little tweaks and it's still not really happening, okay, yeah, maybe you've learned that people don't really want this. And we had this.
Yeah.
We had lots of modules that we tried to launch that we thought there's probably
Kinda
market
fizzled.
opportunity here.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, it's not really there. And we probably should have cut them off sooner in some cases.
Yeah.
But we didn't. And in some cases we did.
But you know what we did in those scenarios is we learned fast.
Oh yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
we didn't fail.
I think
fast.
that's the spirit of fail fast is
Right.
to learn.
Yeah,
It should
exactly.
be learn fast.
Yeah, you
There
go to that market and you say, okay, where are we starting to get traction? Let's keep going that route. Oh, we're not getting traction in this area. Let's pivot over to something else. Talk to customers.
Learn fast, follow the money, like all these
Yeah,
like different metaphors that kind of align to the same. Don't fight the river, like, you know, or downstream effort is also you know, like the don't fight the current. Sorry, like that idea though, like just kind of go with it. I think is what it sort of.
It is tough to know when though, like to give up. Like we had a really hard time with this, even with App Armor. We had features that we built that we thought were going to have a ton of traction and go somewhere.
Yeah,
and there just wasn't the uptake that we thought was going to be there, and we were very bad at saying, okay, let's sunset or let's retire that feature. And we rarely did that. We kept a lot of features going for probably way too long, where we should have been saying, hey, we can't do this one piece, but we were always worried there's that one customer out there that really likes that feature. We're going to keep that thing going because we don't want to lose that one customer. I think in retrospect, we probably should have been more aggressive.
Sometimes you got to make these decisions though, too. Like those are important customers that were using those things.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to lose them because they were important customers. They may even have had different pieces of our software elsewhere.
Yeah.
And like in the platform, like they were using other parts of the platform too. And so what? Maybe you eat it on that for a while. But early on, you can't really like eat that. Like that's not a thing you can do. Like if your initial product isn't getting more traction, then obviously that's a fail fast element there is what part of this is failing to get interest. And let's stop doing that. What part of it works pretty well? Oh, this thing. And then and then you're into a pivot.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we only covered like 3 pieces of bad advice, but the point of doing this was to kind of put this out there that, hey, a lot of the, you know, sayings that you hear in, you know, if you're doom scrolling business stuff, you're going to hear this sort of stuff all the time. But you really have to critically look at it. What I wanted to do was kind of try and identify some of the patterns of the bad advice.
Oh, cool.
Okay. So
that's interesting.
So all 3 of them sounded inspiring, right? Like they were like, whoa, yeah, cool. Let's do that. You know, all 3 oversimplified, a complex situation.
That's got to be most advice, I feel like.
Yeah.
Is oversimplification.
All 3 of them worked for someone.
Yeah.
All 3 ignore context and nuance.
Yeah.
Okay. And actually, that's one of the
people
things.
don't like shades of gray.
No.
People like it's this or it's that.
Yeah,
right. And I think the reality is almost everything has shades of gray.
Yeah.
And it's complicated.
And all 3 of them get repeated a ton because they're catchy, not because they're correct.
Yeah. And also when things are repeated, they seem more true. It's just like a thing in human cognitive behavior.
Yeah.
Like the more we hear something, we're like, oh, that's real.
Yeah. And so
that's why lies are repeated so much. Do you know what I mean? Like when somebody lies, they repeat it. And eventually people start repeating the lie, making it true.
Yeah.
Well,
good point,
not
actually.
really true, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So good advice. Okay. Not the bad advice or bad sayings that we had in this episode, but good advice is less popular. Okay. So, and there's a bunch of reasons for it. Okay. Good advice is always contextual. How often do you say it depends?
A lot.
When we're talking on this
I mean, that's the point of the pod.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you doing here if you don't want this?
We're renaming the pod. It's the It Depends Startup Different podcast.
The It Depends Business Podcast.
Yeah. You know, good advice is uncomfortable. You know, solve a boring problem profitably. You know, if we have a podcast, we go out and tell people, yeah, you should really go after boring problems because they're like super profitable. Yeah. Some of the investments we've made are like, we find
so
a boring company and we're like,
boring.
Oh my gosh.
We're passionate about boring companies.
Yeah, I know. You know, good advice doesn't fit on a t-shirt, you know, raise the minimum to reach the next miles, like all this stuff. You know, good advice doesn't fit into these nice little cliche things. And good advice requires thinking. So just on the fail fast thing, you know,
good advice requires thinking.
Yeah.
Bad advice does not require thinking. That's interesting though. Like that's true. I didn't really think of that, but like the nuance there is that you can immediately absorb bad advice, but good advice requires you to think about it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Exactly.
Never thought about that before.
You know, everybody's always looking for the doom scroll, like quick answer to the fix my
We're
problem.
Gonna solve doom scrolling.
We're going to solve this
right now.
Right. Want to hear a good business idea on doom scrolling, by the way? Is an adjacent thing. I was thinking about, I was doing my workout this morning and it's like a cardio
do you
workout.
go to the gym?
Yeah. Now I do.
This guy's looking absolutely shredded.
Not quite, but
cheese grater
so
abs.
I'm doing my workout and it's a like a 30-second on, 30-second off type of workout. So, and I'm doing all these different cardio plyo things and stuff like that. And I'm like, this is almost like doom scrolling. Okay. So what I want to build is an app where it's just workout things that is like on a doom scroll. Okay. So you go into the app, you turn it on, and it's got a guy doing push-ups. Okay. And he's like, okay.
So
all right.
you do that?
And then you go, oh, now he's going to do these like weird, like plank things. Okay. All right. I'm going to do that. And then it's just a doom scroll, because you know how like people get really addicted to doom scrolling? So maybe it could be like the way that you get addicted
people like
to
skip stuff
working
and
in.
they keep going. Like you don't have to do
it
every
just
one.
auto advances, I'm assuming, right?
Oh, but if you
that's
didn't
like
want,
your
but if you
workout.
didn't want to do it, you just skip.
You
one.
can just skip it
Yeah.
and do something else.
That's kind of an interesting
So
idea.
I don't know. I kind of want to try and build this actually.
That's kind of
It's
a
just
cool
like
idea.
a doom scrolling.
It feels like you would get like exhausted and it would still be there though. Like, when's the workout done?
I don't know. Maybe it's got a timer.
Maybe you like start
Maybe that's the
workout and it
value
starts
add.
feeding you,
Yeah.
and then you swipe through, and then that's actually kind of an interesting idea.
It's so niche, it sounds stupid.
No, I actually think that's a really big market. The exercise stuff. Anyway,
All right. Well, anyways, patent pending.
if you listen to this podcast, you've agreed to Chris's patent on this idea. So.
Cool.
All right, folks. We'll see you next week.
Hey.
Start it up, let's get it rolling. Big ideas, money folding. Hustle smart, dream so wild. Turn that grind into a joyride.